It's your greasy girl, Phil. And to all my oily girls out there, this one's gonna be a good one because today we're gonna be talking all about oily skin. From what's going on the inside and out. Because from the outside, it may seem like quite a troublesome type of skin to work with, right? Because of all the oils in our pores, which makes them look huge, and then you sprinkle a bit of bacteria into the equation, and then boom, you got yourself some pimples. But it's really not all bad. So today I'm going to lay out basically everything there is to know about oily skin. So recap what our mama gave us, aka why we have oily skin, the top 4 reasons we might be triggering an overproduction of oils on top of what we already have, and ingredients you need to look for when looking at products to add to your skincare routine, and most excitingly, what you probably all came here for, the top drugstore products I found that have really worked wonders for my oily combination and breakout prone skin, which allowed me to basically walk out of the house without a planet of pimples on my face. Be prepared to nerd out with me on some things, alright? And also, even though this video says it's for oily skin, a lot of the facts that I'll be talking about in the beginning apply to all of you, anyone who has skin. And for the products, they also work for people with combination skin types as well. So there is definitely something for all of you. Enough talking, let's get into it. Ding ding. Genetics. First off, oily skin is a skin type, which means it's genetic and you're born with it, so there's no changing it. And because it's a skin type, typically your entire body will be more on the naturally nourished side. You won't need to moisturize the body as much as a dry skinned person does. Other obvious characteristics are large pores, because this is where sebum oozes out of, and with more sebum, the pores get enlarged, and because clogged pores leads to higher chances of bacteria and dead skin getting trapped in the pores, oily skin people tend to often deal more with breakouts and acne problems. And makeup tends to just slip and slide all over your face, and you tend to carry around, you know, either a blotting paper or some sort of powder so you can pat that in midday. Struggles are real though, right? I know. But remember, it's not all bad. It's a natural anti-ager because we get fine lines and wrinkles only when the skin gets dry and starts to like prematurely crease and age. The somewhat annoying thing is, even though we already have a bunch of oozy oils on our face, our bodies can produce even more of it depending on 4 main things: hormones, diet, stress, and hydration. So let's quickly go over these before jumping into some products, because it's much more important to control these 4 things and prevent large pores and breakouts rather than cure it with skincare products, which is like an aftermath, which also works but less effectively because you want to kind of nip it at the butt, you know, before it actually comes out. So starting with the hormones. Hormone fluctuations and imbalances are common contributions to the overproduction of oil. So if you're like me and you get really irregular periods, sometimes like once every 2 or 3 months, this just means breakouts are even worse for you. So what's the culprit? Androgens. In our bodies, we have varying levels of hormones, right? Which include both estrogen and testosterone. Women have more estrogen while men have more testosterone. For women, the high levels of estrogen help to maintain the appearance of like smaller pore sizes on the skin and a smooth and bouncy surface because of its role in creating collagen and elastin. And estrogen is also responsible for helping the skin heal and maintain all the moisture. So generally, these 2 hormones rise and they fall, but when it comes to the time of our period, normally the testosterone or the androgen rises, which then causes a spike in our sebum production in our pores, which then leads to more breakouts. And this is why you'll often find that like leading up to your period, that you'll get more breakouts, especially on this chin area. It's like nothing seems to help it because it's actually all happening inside and it has to do with hormones. Did you know that? Because you should. All right, diet. This is a huge factor of breakouts, especially for me as I've like gotten older. What I eat, I found really impacts my skin even more, especially dairy products, which I love so much. Like if there was an international cheese club or butter club, I would be the president. But actually it distorts and changes the hormones in our bodies. And same with eating foods high in sugar and high glycemic index, which is high GI, because these all play back into hormones and how it affects different things in our bodies. And the foods we eat and how it can cause breakouts is way overlooked. And if you think about it, what goes in has to come out, right? So let's first start with dairy. Dairy. So So dairy is loaded with hormones, about 60 different types, because farmers actually give the cows hormones so they produce more milk. And when it comes to our skin, the hormone IGF-1, which is insulin growth factor 1, then gets consumed by us. So when we drink a cup of milk or whatever it is you have with milk, it causes a surge in this hormone in our own bodies. So I highly suggest you try reduce or cut it out and see if your skin gets better. And if it does, you'll know why. So personally, I find that when I eat cheese, when I drink coffee with full cream milk, this actually causes a lot of breakouts on my lower portion of my face, like instantaneously. Okay, not instantaneously, but like the next day, I will for sure have at least 2 pimples on my chin if I eat cheese. And this wasn't always the case. Like I used to just be able to eat cheese platters, drink anything I want with milk, and it didn't do anything up until I was like 20s, maybe like 23, and it just got really bad. So now I'm like making active decisions to swap out milk products with like oat milk, almond milk, or soy milk in my coffee, and it just doesn't make me as bloated, and it also clears up my skin. All right, so before we jump into our product recommendations, hydration. And you guys might think that hydration is just for dry skin, and it might not even be something you think about that has to do with oily skin, because yes, oily skin already does a bang up job in keeping the skin like naturally soft and lubricated. But this is one of the major issues for oily skin people. If you don't feed your skin with enough hydration after cleansing, this will signal to the pores that there isn't enough oil or sebum on the skin, and so your pores will overproduce and overcompensate the amount of sebum that's on it, right? So this is why sometimes we know we have oily skin, but for some like mystical reason, we're still dry and flaky in some areas. And this comes down to hydration, which means the water content in the skin itself is lacking. Make sure you hydrate it with toners and serums and moisturize so that you're not a greasy mess, but still flaky. Not cute. Okay, so we're almost at the product recommendations, which I know you guys are all about because we finally mentioned drugstore alternatives, yay! But before that, I want to mention some like ingredients that you really want to focus on when you're trying to find products to add into your skincare routine for oily skinned people. So the first one I really love using is tea tree oil, and it's natural, it's an antibacterial, it's an anti-inflammatory, and it also helps to kill off the acne-causing bacteria, which is like P. acnes. You don't typically like splash this all over the face. I like to actually use it as a spot treatment, like a natural spot treatment. But make sure when you do, you dilute it with a few drops of like a low comedogenic carrier oil, like marula oil, grapeseed, hemp seed, or even jojoba. So you just mix a few drops with maybe 1 drop of oil and then just like dab it on. All right, so the second, salicylic acid, which is probably something you've all heard about if you guys do have like oily, acne-prone skin. So salicylic acid is a BHA, and it works by softening the keratin in the skin. The skin is more easily turned over, which means like new baby skin is like going to the surface, which then reduces the potential of your pores getting clogged. Salicylic acid penetrates oily skin because it is oil soluble compared to AHAs, which are water soluble, which means it can't go into like the deeper areas of the pores and help clean them out and kill the bacteria in them. All right. So now that we got all the theory out of the way, we can talk about products. All right, you know when we bring out the table, it means business. So these are the products that I picked up from the drugstore or are drugstore prices, because I wanted to kind of include a little bit of Body Shop as well as COSRX, because they are very affordable and sometimes like even cheaper than drugstore. So here I have some La Roche-Posay. This is the Differin that I've been doing a lot of research about, so I got that one. CeraVe, which is like really popular, the Neutrogena gel cream, and I have a mask. So we'll go from cleanser to serum, moisturizers, and masks. Because I feel like in the drugstore, they have a lot of great cleansers and moisturizers, not so much serums. And I feel like because serums are very concentrated for like specific concerns on your skin, you have to pay a little bit extra for like go to Sephora or Ulta or something. So let's just move these aside and first start off with this one. Okay, so this is the La Roche-Posay new medicated formula. It's the Medicated Gel Cleanser. It has 2% salicylic acid, an acne medication, obviously, because it has the active ingredient, but it also has 0.05 micro exfoliating LHA. So LHA stands for lipohydroxy acid, kind of like a relative of salicylic acid, and it works to fight acne by lifting out dead skin cells from the skin surface. The only difference is it doesn't penetrate as deeply as salicylic acid, which also means on the good side that it's better for those of you with sensitive skin or skin that's like, you know, easily irritated. So I think it's really good for those of you who can't use salicylic acid or you have like rosacea and things like that, because it's a little bit more gentle. But this one does have salicylic acid, so you know, it's got both of them in there. So those are the two active ingredients. So what you'll find is it's basically a clear gel that's quite runny, and then it like foams up really nicely on the face. And what I always am intrigued with cleansers is when I wash it off, if it's really like stingy and dry, or if it smells really medicated or anything like that. But once I like worked it into the skin and patted the water off, like it was still very comfortable and it was very smooth. And actually why I know this really works for me anyway is because I had a bunch of like these little pimples on my chin. They were just like little pustule type things. And after using this the next day, they had already gone. It wasn't peeling, it wasn't dry, it was just flat. I really like this one. And this was $15, $14.99. So I really highly recommend this. And a lot of you ask if you can use salicylic acid in a cleanser and, you know, also maybe something else in your skincare after you wash your face. You definitely can, because cleansers you wash off. So just make sure you cleanse your face for, you know, a good amount of time. Give it like 2 minutes so that the ingredients can really seep in and do their job in your pores, and then you wash it off. Bing! Now moving on to, let's go on to this one because it's like the serum. This is the Ordinary AHA 30%, BHA 2%. Bing, bing. This is a buffet of different AHAs. It's got lactic acid, tartaric acid, citric acid, glycolic acid, and all of these, as the title suggests, are AHAs, which helps to decongest the pores. It helps to break down dead skin. So this is a highly potent AHA, and it's a 10-minute exfoliating facial. So you apply a thin layer to dry but clean skin while avoiding the eye and the mouth areas. Wait for 10 minutes, and then you just rinse it off completely and keep going with your skincare routine. And it's best used at night because like these things are best used at night, really. It also has Tasmanian pepperberry, which is super high in antioxidants. It also helps protect your skin from harmful UV rays. So, I mean, I wouldn't recommend you jump into this if you haven't used any chemical exfoliants, but this is definitely okay for those of you who are, you know, moderate in it. So this is very inexpensive as well. So I use this maybe once a week. All right, so moving on to moisturizers, which is actually my favorite section of the drugstore. So first, let's start off with this one. This is the CeraVe Daily Moisturizing Lotion, and it says for normal to dry skin. But here's the thing, like I said, I can use this, and it's very lightweight. It absorbs so quickly into the skin. It has 3 essential ceramides and hyaluronic acid, and it says here, lightweight. So I think those of you with dry skin, you might need to like put something else on afterwards maybe, especially in the winter. And I used this when I broke out in a rash. And so for the week, I had to just like go back to basics, and this is what I used. You know, you don't want anything with fragrance when your skin is inflamed. And this was just really good. So it's just like white, doesn't smell like anything. It's like very, you know, watery, comfortable, perfect for oily skin. I'm telling you guys, it's perfect. I just feel like you could also use this on the body. So I really like it. And then make sure you go down the neck as well. All right, so this is the one I was really interested in trying. This is the Differin moisturizer with sunscreen, SPF 30. It's the oil control moisturizer with sunscreen, and it's for acne-prone skin. I'm not sure if all different products have adapalene in it, but that is their key ingredient. Adapalene is a derivative of vitamin A, or aka retinol. So the first day I use this during the day because it has sunscreen, and this is actually one of the only drugstore moisturizers with sunscreen that I've used, and I'm like in love with it because it says here absorbs excess oil and won't clog pores, and it has UVA and UVB protection. So it has all the things that you really want in a day moisturizer, right? So I tried it, and you know, I use this at night, use this in the morning, and then followed with a toner, and then just use the moisturizer so that I could really tell if it worked or not. And it really does absorb excess oils. Like when you apply it, it does have that kind of sunscreeny look, but it doesn't stay there. It's not like that weird pearl kind of sunscreen where it doesn't go away and it feels really greasy. And I really, really love it. I think this is probably for any of you guys who have oily skin and acne prone who need a sunscreen moisturizer. And this was $15, guys. So next is this Centella Blemish Cream by COSRX. I've mentioned this in a bunch of other videos, our moisturizer video. I just have like nothing but great things to say about this because it is this like cream, right? It's definitely thicker, it's not gel, but it is so good for hyperpigmentation. My mind is still trying to process this after like months of first getting it. The key ingredient is Centella asiatica, which is one of those anti-inflammatory, like everything ingredients, and it's used in a lot of Korean skincare brands. So the first time I used it, I put it all over my face, which is wrong because they said that you should just use it over affected areas, which is like where you have scars or you have like you're healing from breakouts, but I just put it all over my face and it was still fine. Like it doesn't sting or anything, but that's the thing, it's so gentle, and then in the morning your face is like bright. So after using this for like a week, your scars are gone, especially, you know, just the light browning of like an old pimple or things like that. This is only like $15 as well. Super affordable, highly recommend. So the next is the Neutrogena Hydro Boost Gel Cream. So they have a cream and they also have a gel version. This cream probably works for oily skin people. This is designed for extra dry skin, right? And it's laden with hyaluronic acid. It's still like a gel texture, it's just a very thick gel. And then when you put it on, compared to the gel version of this, is a little bit tackier and a little bit stickier, which means that for dry skin people, it works. So I would recommend, if you guys aren't too sensitive in the winter, you can definitely try this one. I find it's really similar to like Laneige Gel Bank Cream or the Origins Ginseng Boost one, the orange one that I have. It's that gel consistency and it just absorbs so quickly. It's great under makeup. You know, you use it after a toner, a serum, and then lock it in with this. And it's just like a really affordable thing. Only thing is, one of our team members tried this on her hand and like it made her a little like itchy or something. So once again, it does work for like maybe Rowena and I, but you have to try it on yourself. So now moving on to my last kind of two picks, Body Shop Tea Tree Skin Clearing Clay Mud. This is the one that Rowena gave to me because like it was for oily skin. So this mask has two key ingredients, tamanu oil as well as kaolin clay. So tamanu oil has recently been picking up a lot of traffic in the like beauty skincare industry over its magical properties because it helps with reducing inflammation as well as acne scars, hyperpigmentation, and like other skin conditions, while also simultaneously destroying acne causing bacteria and just helping with the pain. So it's like this ultimate healing ingredient that helps even heal like burns and cuts. So as an oil, that's what it's really good for, but it's also inside this as well. And kaolin clay is one of those really good clays for oily skin because it helps to absorb all the excess oils while like without being too stripping on the face. So I just love this, and it's got tea tree, so it smells good, and yeah, it's like the perfect consistency really. What you do is you just, after cleansing your face, I like to do this after my shower, I just put this straight on, leave it on for 10-15 minutes and then wash it off, and I just feel like, you know, decongested straight away. And then my like holy grail of mask is the Indian Aztec clay, which you can get anywhere now on Amazon. It's 100% bentonite clay, and bentonite clay is like the best if you have super oily skin because it really just pulls out all the toxins, all the oils. If I'm really feeling gross, you know, like hormonally on my skin, then I'll just put it on the lower half wherever I need it, and then it will be gone after like 3 days. It's seriously a miracle, and it's so cheap for what it is because it's kind of like a no fuss. I like to mix it with apple cider vinegar. So however much powder you have, you mix it with apple cider vinegar, mix it around, and then you'll see that it like starts bubbling, and then you just apply it to the face, and it smells kind of gross, but you get over it because you know it's good for you. When that dries, it's like really tight. It's really pulling because it really is soaking up everything. You wash it off, and it might be a little bit red afterwards if you do it all over your face, but that dissipates. It's actually fine. And then you just proceed with skincare. So that is our oily skin video, guys. I hope you guys now know the entire scope kind of about oily skin, what you should use, the drugstore products. And you know, we always want to tell you guys a little bit more about what's actually happening below the surface, you know, in the body, which will then lead like better lifestyle decisions, more than just picking products and spending money to buy. Even if it is drugstore and cheaper, you're saving yourself a lot of money by like controlling what you eat and things like that, right? That is actually like the biggest factors into breakouts and oily skin. Yeah, so I just wanted to kind of nerd out with you guys on that. I could keep talking about all this stuff because there's so much information on it. And we're going to be doing a whole video on how food affects acne and breakouts and all of that, like in depth. So make sure you stay tuned for that. If you're combination dry, make sure you check out Rowena's video because she talks all about her kind of dupes, drugstore dupes for certain skincare products that you're interested in. And make sure you've caught up on all our skincare series. We go from cleansers all the way through to facial oils, and we're starting to do like vitamin A, B3 and C. So yeah, there's a lot for you guys to watch if you are just joining us. So we'll see you in the next one.